Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thanks so much for joining me for Try It Out Tuesday. Okay, so I did a little shopping, and when I like to browse, I'm a window shopper completely, but when I find a good deal, I thought, well, I'm going to try it out for Try It Out Tuesday. This is an embossing folder set and a stamp set from American Crafts. It says it's a 4-piece set, but you get 2 embossing folders and then 2 sentiment stamps, and it was only $7.99. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I did notice on other sets like this, they're the same price, but you get a full embossing folder and then you also get a partial embossing folder. The sentiments in this one say just because and thanks. And I did check to see if they're a photopolymer, and they are not. I think they may be acrylic. But I've worked with acrylic stamps before and I've had no problems with that. So let's get to embossing. I'm going to emboss this with this folder with white cardstock 2 times. And then with this leafy background, I'm going to emboss some vellum. I love when you emboss vellum because that white detail just pops out of the vellum and it just looks so pretty. I like that. So that's what my vellum looks like. And then here's what the flowers. I'm trying to pick up the camera so you can see. We've had some very dark overcast days, so forgive my lighting, but the flowers in here are so pretty, and I did 2 because one of them I want to fussy cut out and do some layering to add a little extra dimension. So to color in my flowers, we're going to use some Distress Oxide inks. We have Shabby Shutters, Dried Marigold, Tumbled Glass, Tattered Rose, and Scattered Straw. So some nice soft colors. We're going to start off by using a blending tool and just go over our embossed detail. And here you can really see the floral image, how pretty it is. I'm going to do that to both panels. This panel I am going to fussy cut around the very edge and then put behind a frame. So I'm not too worried about the color going outside the lines. But I sped this part up really fast. I'm just adding a little bit of color over my flowers. And I just love the way this looks. Adding my little dried marigold in that corner. And then we'll add our Shabby Shutters up on the top here. Okay, now I'm going to figure out which one's the prettiest, because the prettiest one I'm going to fussy cut each one of the flowers out individually. And then the other panel I'm just going to follow along the outward embossed edge and then fussy cut along that edge. So this is what everything looks like here. Now when I fussy cut out each one of the flowers, I went a little bit on the inside following the embossed line. So I made the flower a little bit smaller, and I did that because I want some gold accent to each one of those. I'm just using my Versamark ink. Next I'm going to add it to the very edge of the individual flowers and then also that full piece here. And then we're going to take some gold embossing powder and just go around the edge. We're going to kind of give this soft card a little bit of a vintage look. And some of the gold did stick to the flowers, and I didn't mind that because I think that look kind of just makes it look a little bit more vintage. I missed a few spots, so I'm just going to add a little more Versamark and a little more gold embossing powder, and then we're going to go ahead and melt that. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my individual flowers too. We're going to emboss the edge of those. Here you can see how pretty that is. Just soft, and then the gold just kind of makes it look a little more vintage. So everything's all done, and I have embossing powder everywhere. I'm just using my brush to clean off my work surface. Okay, while we have our embossing powder out, we're going to stamp our sentiment. I chose Just Because. And since we're using gold embossing powder, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this with my VersaFine Onyx Black ink and then go over it with gold embossing powder. I like it because I can see how much pressure I put on my sentiment, and then when I add the gold, you can't even tell that there's black underneath it. But I'll go ahead and heat set this and then trim off the top and bottom so I have a strip here. And then now we're going to create a frame. The frame, I'm going to use the 2 largest stitched rectangle dies that I have. It's going to be about a 1/4 inch frame. And if you guys are looking for a double stitched rectangle die set, I can't recommend this enough. These are from Cat Scrappiness, and I've had them for a long time, and I like the quality, and I also like that there's the size and the double stitch lines. It's so nice, and I'll link it down below. Okay, once my frame's die cut, I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece to the back side of my frame, and I'll just use my Nuvo DELUXE adhesive for that. And then once it's glued, I'm going to add foam adhesive behind both my frame and that flower image. This way we can adhere our vellum right behind it. I'm just making sure the embossed area, side is up. And when I added my foam tape, there's a little open area on the bottom of my frame that I covered with foam tape, and I was just removing the foam tape from there. I don't think that looks very pretty. Okay, we're going to adhere this to our vellum. And I'm lining it to that top corner. That way I only have 2 edges to cut. And I'll just trim off those with my scissors. Lovely. Okay, we're going to take my tape runner and adhere this to our A2 size card base. A2 size is a standard note card size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Now my frame size is slightly smaller, so I have a little bit of a border, and I like that on my cards. So pretty. Okay, we're going to flip over each one of our individual flowers and add some foam squares behind each one of those. And then I'm just lining them up right over the embossed image, kind of matching in like a puzzle piece almost. And I like that there's extra gold peeking out, and I also like that there's extra dimension. And we'll do our last 2. Now that pink flower, I added gold embossing detail to the edges, and I kind of went a little crazy because there was a lot of excess on that pink one. So after we have this last one adhered, I'm going to remove that pink one, and we're going to trim off the heavily embossed area. It was just a little too much. It wasn't flowing with the rest of the card. And then I'm going to re-adhere that. We're going to trim down our sentiment just using my scissors, and then I'm going to add a piece of foam tape behind my sentiment and add that to my card. So it's just because. Real soft and pretty, I think. And then for finishing touches, I'm only going to add some droplets. I haven't used my clear droplets in a while. I'm just going to add a few here and there. And I use my glue to secure those. And then that finishes off my card for today, guys. Now, if you can help me, I left the cleanup in for my Try It Out Tuesdays. I'll try and do that. But I lost my thanks stamp that was with the set. I don't know what I did with it. You're going to see me fiddle around my desk trying to find it. I don't know, have no clue where it went. I still don't know where it went. If you can help me, if you know where it went, let me know. Have a great day, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.